Colin Cowherd said Caleb Williams doesn't want to go to Chicago. So I don't know what anybody's even talking.
Where did he hear that?
I don't know. He's plugged in LA, right at USC, we all assume. So anytime he speaks about anything USC, we have to listen because Colin Cowherd's been in the sports media world for a very long time, very accomplished, very good at what he does. I'll listen to a promo or two of his throughout the season. I go, Cowherd still got it.
Yeah.
Colin Cowherd's still throwing his absolute heat, but he is kind of tied in over there. So whenever he alludes to the number one overall pick potentially not wanting to go to the place that has the number one overall pick, it's certainly going to make noise, and it did. So much so that Caleb Williams actually changed his profile photo to a photo of him wearing a T-shirt as a child with a bear on it.
I like that.
So now we got an entire thing happening. And I would assume Colin Cowherd did hear something from somebody who probably would know that maybe they're thinking something. Caleb might be in a different position. There's a lot of smoke right now. Combine season, draft season, it is bananas. But when we hear stuff like this, I think it only feeds the narrative that some people have about Caleb Williams, like, relax. But then on the other side, there's people that are like, Caleb Williams is one of the only talents in the last 20 years where if he did do the whole Eli, I'm not going there, it would end up working out because of how talented he is at football. It's great fodder for conversation. We assume it won't take place, but when it's mentioned, we have to talk about it, AJ. It's a massive ordeal there.
Yeah, I want to know, though, I think there's a difference between not wanting to go somewhere and are you not willing to go there? Like, yeah, you can easily be like, hey, I don't know if the scheme fits what I do. I don't know, if they have whatever I'm looking for. But, yeah, if I get drafted, I'll go there. It's one thing to not want to go there, but if you're actually willing to pull the old Eli situation and force your way somewhere else, that's a different story.
Eli, John Elway, it has happened a few different times, not in the modern social media everything is either the greatest move or the worst move of all time era that we're currently in. But it's like, I think the way some people view him, and we are not draft experts.
No.
We're not scouting experts, although we do have a very high hit rate whenever we put eyes on somebody.
Bingo.
We say, that's a Sunday player right there. Very high hit rate. Very high. We don't swing the bat a lot, but whenever we look at somebody and go, oh yeah, that's going to be great in the NFL. So we don't really do the draft the same way everybody else does. We just hope and assume and break down the situation they're going into, which is a massive piece of it all. But what some people are saying about Caleb is like, greatest draft prospect of all time. Would take him over Andrew Luck, would take him over Peyton Manning.
Burrow.
So all of this shit that has seemingly come out over the last few months about like, the baggage of like his dad, I guess, is very loud. And his dad does a lot. And the thoughts of this and the thoughts of, it's like, seemingly everybody's saying it's 100% worth it with how great of a football player he is. As one great person told me before when I was describing a situation, when you can spin it, literally you can do whatever.
Don't matter.
In the football world. And that's basically how this whole story is going to be written for Caleb, if it works or not.
Well, and for like all the rookie QBs. Like I think Daniel Jeremiah said this yesterday. He'd be stunned if the Bears and Patriots don't take a quarterback, but there's a chance the Commanders, he's not completely sold. But for all three of those guys at the top, like you got to have some good feeling about the fact that all the offensive coordinators on those teams are new. Like the Bears, that's a brand new OC. He's going to he probably had to come in with a plan to sell like, hey, this is what I want to do with whatever rookie QB you guys like. Like there has to be some sort of,
or they're trading,
or they're
they're
trading out, and this is what they're doing with Fields. But like at least having some sort of plan for players like that has to not reiterate, but kind of help a little bit for them.
You know what I appreciate though, AJ, is whoever told Colin Cowherd this information, they were like, we'd like to help the Chicago Bears make their decision on whether or not they want to stay at 1 or if they want to trade. Colin, why don't you tell the world he's not interested in going? It's that, like, I'm not going to say arrogance, but it is kind of that arrogance that, like, a lot of NFL people that I've chatted with are like, let's see, dude. Everybody's saying you're the next Patrick Mahomes. Doesn't mean you are. There's been a lot of people that have been tagged the next a lot of things, and it hasn't worked out. From what we have seen and watched, I think he's going to have success. But, like, a lot of it is dependent upon him making plays and extending plays. And it's like D linemen in the NFL run 4.2s, 4.3s. It's a little bit different than in college. Not saying it's not going to work, but all of this shit that is coming outside of the Caleb Williams, which might be fake, but all of this, like, he's only going to these couple teams is what it was beforehand. He won't do this. It's like, that's already a lot. It's already a lot for somebody that's
Would you take him? would you draft somebody if you knew they were public about not wanting to play there?
Yeah, because I think like little things lead to big things, right? Which is kind of the conversation. Like all of these are kind of indicators, I think, that are not good for Caleb. And I'm not saying Caleb's a part of it, but I'm just saying some people could view if this is how he's handling this situation, let alone whenever we got to redo a offense coordinator or we have to do this, how are they going to handle all this? And then it seems like all the, like you hear Tom Brady talk the other day. He's like, the team. Quiet. You don't really hear it. CJ Stroud coming out. Just super. He's dumb, obviously. That C2 thing said that he's dumb, but everything else was just like whatever. It's, there's some indicators that would lead that maybe this doesn't happen whenever somebody's really good. But Joey Burrow, there was rumors for a little bit that he was potentially going to leave, and he's worked out pretty good. So it's like, would I draft Caleb if I'm number one and I need a quarterback? Yeah, I'm taking him. You
only know from speaking with him. When if you're going to take him number one, you're going to have plenty of times where you worked him out, you brought him in, you've talked to him, you've probably talked to his family, his coaches. Like you have a much better idea than we do just sitting here hearing what other people are saying.
Exactly. And I would like to get the chance to learn more about him because all we ever hear about him is just like, well, his people are saying this. It's like, I'm tired of hearing from his people. I would like to hear from Caleb.
The hard thing, though, everybody has people. Like even in college now, a lot of guys have people because of how the whole NIL situation plays out.
Caleb Williams' camp. It's like, I want to hear from Caleb.
Yeah.
I'm about sick of hearing from the camp, because we're not drafting the camp. We're drafting Caleb Williams. But are you also drafting the camp?
You are. It all comes with it.
Yeah, which is a whole nother decision to make for $1 billion organization.
When I first saw this, though, and given last year with the C.J. Stroud stuff, and when we kind of just be like, hey, is it possible that the Texans leaked all of that stuff because they knew all along, hey, we want him at number 2? Like, is this potentially the Bears just kicking this up to see, hey, well, some other team, he's obviously regarded as the top quarterback no matter what, it's not even close compared to the other two guys. Are they just putting this out there to kind of kick the tires on everyone else and be like, hey, let's see if we can get another team to kind of give us a king's ransom to move up to number 1 to take this guy?
We do have to remember that. We can't be so immature.
It's very possible.
Everything is bullshit.
We are 10 days away from bullshit season. And we talked about
oh my God,
Jesus,
with,
Tony.
Every day we're gonna have to deal with
Burrow,
Put a number on it.
Burrow, Burrow at one point it was like, yeah, for sure he's not playing for the Bengals. He doesn't want to, and it turns out that was all bullshit. This could be all bullshit, and I think it would be nice to come out and hear him talk. But him putting up the picture of him wearing the bear on that is his version of saying this is bullshit.
Hey, Caleb. Good luck, man. It's going to get so loud.
Cuffed up
a lot of them go to media day, right?
It's going to be so
loud. A lot of these guys, when they go to media day, probably, I'm sure they're getting paid good money to promote some
combine
stuff.
You're talking about at the Radio Row?
Yeah.
We've gotten a list of some people that are coming.
There'll be college guys there, right? Some guys that are draft eligible. There usually is.
Yeah, I don't think Caleb, though.
We had Hooker last year. He was selling them beans.
Stroud
Stroud
was 2 years ago.